Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching the Patreon bonus story. First one here is Mad Max mode.
Yes, I am excited about this. Now, not to get everyone else too excited. Basically, we saw a screenshot from the Tesla truck, and it has a Mad Max mode. This is for the blind spot.
So wait a minute, you push a button and then all these cars come out that'll fight off your attackers? What does Mad Max mode mean?
So I mean, there's like, I think it's blind spot. I think it's for when you're doing a lane change. It's checking your blind spot.
Do spears stick out the side?
No, I think it's how close you're willing to get to another car. Okay. So they had 3 modes. They had sort of like the somewhat far, like a hesitant, and then like a assertive, and then Mad Max. So it's like you're like really just like, you know, driving right in front of them.
Okay. Now it's okay. I'm piecing it together.
Right.
I kind of wish that the artwork they'd come up with, instead of having all these gas-powered cars, was electric cars around you. But now I see what you're talking about. You're going to be on the road with gas-powered cars.
You're going to be on the road. Yeah, I suppose.
So
whatever.
Right.
It's going to be cool. I can't wait to try it out, because don't forget, we're getting a Tesla truck.
That's right.
And don't forget, we could show you what Mad Max mode is, because you're going to help. You are, if you're watching this, you're helping to support us get a Tesla truck. And we still need more support, unfortunately.
Right. I mean, we're on the list.
We're on the list.
That's good. We paid our deposit.
We're on the way to saving money to get this crazy truck. This is crazy. But we do need all the support we can get. So thank you again for being wonderful, awesome people. Also, let's talk about the Roadster here.
Yeah. It's going to have rocket thrusters.
It's going to have rocket thrusters. But we've talked about this before.
Okay, but so some people are saying, like one of our viewers, Megan, she said that there's no way that the rockets could just be shooting out air. That would hurt people who'd have to shoot air at like 1,500 miles per hour, which could throw debris on you. Her theory, it's a pretty good one, I think scientifically sound, would be that you would create a curtain of air underneath the car, which would draw the car to the ground and give you more traction.
Right. There have been other articles posted where they're saying that this can't be used for rocket engines, of course. It's going to be used for cooling.
I like this. So here's a patent, basically, that's released. I mean, so if Tesla has a patent to do this with this cooling device, I think that's a pretty good indicator, because all the things that Elon said could be done with these thrusters could be done through the cooling. Because don't forget, you know, you and I may not think cooling a car is sexy, but if you don't cool it, you can't go fast for very long. And the Roadster, his whole point is to go fast for very long.
Yep.
So you need to keep the battery cool, the motor cool, all that, the brakes cool. And this new Tesla patent design does that through an air bleed. So that might be what he was talking about.
Now, I sincerely doubt that this is true. Okay. I think that it's going to be crazy rocket engines.
I think you just want it to be.
I want it to be, but also he said that there would be 10 rocket thrusters, nozzles.
But what about
distributed seamlessly around the car?
But couldn't that be pushing the car down onto the road?
It could be. One of them certainly could be. But keep in mind that you're still, I mean, yes, it's not lateral, right? So you're not blowing the guy next to you into another lane, and you're not, shoving the car behind you backwards, and you're not, doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I know that so if we go with your idea and it's blowing air out, it may not be street legal. That's the big question. But couldn't he just have it so that it's available, and so therefore you don't use it on the street?
Oh, absolutely. I think that, it would be like, are you sure that you are on a
private road? Right.
I think that seems totally fine. And you could even, I don't even want to say it, you could geolock it, which would suck. Like, we noticed that you're not on the Nürburgring racetrack, so you can't turn it on. That would suck.
Why? You want to try it on 93?
Again, the 10 thrusters is what gets me, because it's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
2 pointing up to push the car down?
Right.
Okay.
So I think that makes total sense that it would be 10.
Yeah, I think comment, please, to let us know what you think.
Right.
We got to move on. All right, you remember, Jesse, Arkady Fiedler. He is the amazing Polish adventurer who did an entire Asian trip in his Nissan Leaf.
Yep.
And we interviewed him before he left for Africa. And get this, he's back. He's back, baby.
Wow, he made it. I just want to point out that we've been doing like weeks of this show, and he has been out there
doing something,
busting his butt.
Yeah, he's the first human being to cross the African continent in an electric car. Boom.
That's
Drop
pretty
the
cool.
mic.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about 14 countries in 97 days, covering 15,176 kilometers in Africa. I won't even list all the countries. Here they are. And as you're seeing here, what an amazing trip he had. Like elephants eating out of his ear, his car getting stuck in the mud, in water, and pulling it out of mud, and meeting all these amazing people. I'm just like, I'm in awe of this guy.
Yeah, I am in awe of his car, which is basically the same thing as my car.
It's a first generation Nissan Leaf.
Yeah.
And get this, it has a battery of 30 kilowatt hours.
Yeah.
His maximum on the trip, okay, his maximum day, his maximum charge was 278 kilometers. That was like the best he got out of it, which is pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing.
And get this, electricity use. He charged exactly 100 times. He used 1,425 kilowatt hours of electricity. That's it.
Right. That is almost nothing.
He paid $230 US for the electricity he got.
A continent, people. A continent. That's amazing.
And then, not only that, then when he was done with Africa, he went through Spain, France, Germany, and then Poland, another 2,100 kilometers.
I really, we should interview him again, because that, after Africa, must have just been like, leisurely drive through Europe.
I know.
Wow.
I really want to talk to him and find out about his trip. So
Super
we're going to
cool.
try and hook up with him again and talk to him.
Now, this is kind of neat. This is, so remember Electromechanica?
Yep.
They were an Italian company. Now they're a Canadian company.
Okay.
They make the Solo, that weird looking three-wheeled EV. They also had come out a little while ago. We talked about the Tofino, which was like a little two-seater roadster, just sort of fun around town kind of car, like a 0 to 60 in 7 seconds kind of thing. Now they have come out with a teaser video for this, which looks just like a Porsche 356, and they're calling it the E-Roadster.
I like the look of that.
It's a beautiful car, and I think this is the thing for me. So many EVs have this sort of like, it's from the future. Check it out, it's from the future. It looks like Tron. It looks like a bug. It is a Leaf, or it is an FF91 or whatever. So many electric cars go for the like blue stripes. We got blue stripes all of it. You know that it's electric. Check it out. You know, it's so much of that is so annoying because when you're showing them to people, they're like, "Oh, this is clearly an electric car."
I don't know if it's annoying, but it
can be annoying for some people if you want to buy
whether you're in the future.
Well, or just someone's interpretation of it. I think that they should not shoot for the future. I think that they should go for the classics. I think that EVs would be really well suited for classic cars. I think that you just bring them back because they were cars for a long time, and now you don't have any of the problems that those cars had. You don't have a noisy, belchy engine. The tire technology has come a long way. So all of the problems that older cars sort of had and have can all be avoided. You can, have much bigger crumple zones than they used to be. Instead of them being bricks, you can have it actually be safe, better storage, better acceleration. It's really exciting. And I think that more EV companies should pursue this route of making classic looking cars.
I like it.
Because another thing is we've been brought up on this car culture for over 100 years of, them having this like heritage, like, oh, these electric cars have had the heritage. And we look back at the Model T or whatever and we're like, wow, that's an old looking car. But, in the future, we're going to be looking back at like the Nissan Leaf as like, oh, that's a really old electric car. And it looks so not old.
But maybe people will like it in the future.
Maybe they will like the look of it in the future and like, oh, it's such a classic.
Because don't forget, when some of these cars came out, a lot of people thought they were weird looking.
It's true. And I mean, I guess, but I think that we can sort of exploit that now that we have this sort of
why don't you start a car company?
Timeless. I'm saying
Jesse Mobile.
Yeah, I don't really have time to start a car company, but I'm sure some of you do.
Oh, giving you the ideas.
Maybe.
Folks.
I have no idea,
right,
but
we'll partner with you.
I think it'd be kind of cool.
We'll come up with the names.
Yep.
Oh, Jesse, what is this?
Well, so yeah, 32 BNSF train cars came off the track in Iowa. They were full of oil, and 14 of them leaked.
No.
They leaked 230,000 gallons. That's 870,619 liters of crude oil into the river near Dune, Iowa. Now, the whole area was being flooded, or not being flooded. It was flooded from rain. And so basically the oil just got everywhere. Thousands of people had to be evacuated.
Thousands?
Yeah.
Is that what caused the train wreck? Was the flooding of the train tracks?
It was partially due to that. We're not, like, the investigation is not done, but some speculation would say that the flooding was due to that.
Here's the thing. We found out about this on like a little BBC thing. Like it wasn't widely covered here. It was covered by like the local paper there in Iowa. And I mean, this threatened to contaminate the drinking water of residents 150 miles away in Omaha, Nebraska. Like, this is a big deal, and yet it was barely reported on here.
Right. And here's the thing. Like, if a solar plant did this, or...
Like, contaminated the drinking water of people.
Right. I mean, and they're just moving stuff. It's not like they're generating or drilling or anything. This is just moving oil across the country.
Why would you move it if there was flooding going on? Why wouldn't you keep those trains somewhere safe?
That is a good question. But here's the thing. With renewable energy, you will never have oil spills, right? It just doesn't happen. Anytime that there's a solar leak, that's a nice sunny day.
A nice sunny day.
It's just ridiculous that we still, like, that this is just not news.
Right.
Oh, the train spilled, and it spilled 250,000 gallons of crude oil all over a town, and that it's okay.
It's not okay.
And yet, again, there'll be 1,000 news stories about a Tesla catching on fire.
Right.
You know?
It's so out of proportion. Do you realize how much we're talking about here?
Right.
I can't.
It's so awful.
Thank you, Arnold. Go deliver this message.
Yeah.
Make me feel better.
So, President Trump, I know you really want to be an action hero, right? So take it from the Terminator. You're only supposed to go back in time to protect future generations.
Come with me if you want to live.
But your administration attempts to go back in time to rescue the coal industry, which is actually a threat to future generations. And I just read that you want to actually force energy utilities to buy coal power. I mean, this is, to put it in your own terms,
terrible deal.
A horrible, one-sided deal. A deal that punishes the United States.
It is foolish to bring back laughable, outdated technology to suit your political agenda. I mean, what are you going to bring back next? Floppy disks? Fax machines? Beanie Babies? Beepers? Or Blockbuster? Yeah, think about it. What if you tried to save Blockbuster? Let's say it is 2010, and Netflix is just about to surpass Blockbuster as the leading video rental service. And people absolutely love the fact that you can order movies at home instead of having to drive all the way to the store to rent them. And that's where you come in. Instead of letting Netflix succeed, you declare that everyone has to rent their videos from Blockbuster in order to keep that franchise alive. I mean, as a businessman, you will have to admit that it makes absolutely no sense to go through all of this effort to keep a failing business afloat, right? So then why the hell are you going through all of this effort to rescue coal? Coal is the Blockbuster video of fuel sources. It's on the way out. Just like Blockbuster failed because it was worse than Netflix, coal is much worse than natural gas, and even much, much worse than environmentally friendly ones like wind, solar, and geothermal. And there are consequences to standing in the way of progress that are much worse than putting Blockbuster on life support. Not only are you forcing an inferior product on the consumers, but you're also propping up a fuel source that pollutes our air, our ground, and our water. And it kills people. 7 million people die every year because of pollution. Listen, I know bringing back the coal industry was one of your major campaign promises. And I get it, why you want to go back to the days when coal and Blockbuster were on top. I mean, the 80s were very good to both of us, right?
You were in that movie.
Yes. But now you're president of the United States. So it's time to start looking to the future instead of the past. And that means letting the coal industry go the way Blockbuster went. It is time to start investing in renewable sources that provide for our energy needs without poisoning the environment. And if you really want to save the coal miners, which I think is a brilliant idea, focus on securing them jobs in new, safer industries, rather than propping up a dying industry. Train them for the jobs of the future, jobs where they don't have to toil thousands of feet underground, breathing deadly air. Trust me, in California, our workers who left the oil fields for the solar fields are very happy. Give the coal miners the same chance. Because, Mr. President, that's what a real action hero would do.
I love that because he's full of fire and he's just giving it to him. And I feel like he's done now being governor, so he can almost give it a little extra jab. You know, when you're governor and you're busy being a politician, you sometimes have to hold back and stay whatever. Right. But now he can just like, come on, dude.
Right.
This is
Why are you
ridiculous.
supporting what is equivalent to Blockbuster Video?
Yeah.
It's so true. I mean, it's just like,
it is so true.
It's a no-brainer. It is a no-brainer.
This story really caught me, Jesse. Take a look.
The oceans connect us all. It's frightening to think that we can come to this remote, undeveloped, 80-mile stretch of shoreline in the middle of the Pacific and find it covered in plastic. Literally, tons and tons of plastic waste from cities all over the world.
The theme of the Bruges Triennial is Liquid City. When the organizers of the event approached us, they asked us to create a piece that kind of captured this idea. And it was really interesting to think about the plastic waste that we produce in our cities that ends up in the liquid city, the ocean. The piece that we're building in Bruges, Skyscraper, or the Bruges Whale, is roughly 4,000 square feet of plastic.
But even that much plastic is only just a dent in the amount of that washes ashore.
We've been working with the Hawaii Wildlife Fund to coordinate over the last couple of months several major cleanups, and that's where most of the plastic is coming from for the piece that we're building in Bruges.
We've found shovels, toilet seats, kids' bowls, hangers. We've even found car bumpers. It's quite amazing.
We've done a couple of things with plastic as a material. We built a cloud on Governor's Island in New York out of 1 hour's worth of plastic waste, 53,780 plastic bottles. We did another piece called Drop in Sao Paulo, Brazil, that was 8 minutes worth of plastic waste in Brazil. We brought all the plastic that we found and sourced, cleaned it, and started to assemble it here in upstate New York. We've done all of the steel work, all of the aluminum, and all of the plastic work in this 2,000 square foot lot. And what you're looking at basically are two halves of the whale that will bring together everything you can think of we've used to attach this mesh. The Skyscraper is almost 4 stories tall, weighs several tons, and it's cantilevering off of its base. So there's a tremendous amount of engineering that's gone into keeping it stable and safe. Right now, there's 150 million tons of plastic swimming in the ocean, our oceans, the oceans we share. Pound for pound, that's more plastic waste swimming in the ocean than there is whales. So an opportunity like this to show the type of plastic and the amount of plastic that ends up in our oceans is really important.
Almost 8 million tons of plastic each year pollute our waters, endangering and killing marine life. We hope that the size and scale of Skyscraper illustrates just how large a problem we're facing with plastic in our oceans, and we hope to raise awareness on a global scale for this issue.
They estimate about 2 or 3 million people will come to see it. I hope that they learn about consumption and about what we use and how we use it. The first skyscraper in the sea is a whale, so this massive whale pushing out of the water became the object and the focus of how to talk about this issue.
The city of Bruges has really gotten behind us to try and help bring this ambitious project to life.
But it will take all of us working together to change the way we use and dispose of plastic in order to stop the waste flowing into our oceans.
Here's what I love about it. When a bunch of hippies go onto a piece of beach and they clean it up, you're like, good for them. Yay, what great people. But when a bunch of hippies do that, and then they also design this beautiful whale that's going to be shown in Bruges, like then you're like, wow, these aren't just hippies. These are like beyond that. They want to go to the next level. It takes so much work to not only clean a beach, but then take all this material and clean it and design it and plan it and make this thing that's going to show the world how much just trash is in our oceans.
Right.
More than the weight of the whales themselves.
Right. It's beautiful. What they did was beautiful, and I just wonder. And I appreciate it, and I love what they did. I just wonder if it's too nice looking. Because here's what it is: it's trash, right? I feel like they should just dig it all up and then, like, rent out a space and then just dump it. And people are like, "What the hell is this?" And they're like, "This is what the beach looks like, people."
I know, but you can just go to. Look at the beach there.
No, of course, but people aren't at these places. When you go to a beach, it has been combed, it has been cleaned. You rarely see too much gross plastic crap floating in the ocean. It's in the these Pacific Isles. It's what the fish are eating in the middle of the ocean. Because the gyres actually kind of pull it all together into a loose clump of islands. But you never get to just take it up, bring it up somewhere and just dump it on the ground and be like, look what you've done.
Well, you can organize an event like that. I don't know how many people go to it.
You're not going to have as much, people aren't going to be like, oh, yay, do that.
Right.
Make a mess, you crazy person, And I feel like that's the problem, is that, like, in order to do something like this, you really have to, like, do it up, or else a city like Bruges just going to be like, no freaking way. You can take your plastic somewhere else. We're not up for making, political statements that are ugly.
Right.
So, I love what they did, but at the same time, I think that people need a bigger kick in the pants.
Right. No, we all do.
And again, this goes back to, like, do something yourself this week.
Yes.
Be like, you know what? I only need to get like 5 things at the grocery store today. I'll just carry them all to my car by hand.
I'm setting up an interview with this Danish guy who set up the Solar Tracker, which is this amazing vehicle that's going to travel to the South Pole on recycled plastic and solar energy. And in 2015, he and his wife one night were having dinner, and they're like, you know what? Screw this. No more plastic waste in this house. No more. We're not going to stand for it. And they just stopped. Cold turkey.
Right.
So they did it.
Right.
And it's kind of inspirational. You're like, they're just 2 normal people before this, and they somehow did it.
Right.
So we're going to hopefully be telling that story. We can do it. It's not easy sometimes, but you can do it, and you'll feel really good.
Right. Thank you so much for supporting the show. You guys are awesome.
They know that. They already know that.
I hope that you know that. If you're new, you rock. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Do they rock as much as someone who's been here for longer than them?
No, everyone here is awesome. We want you all to know that you're awesome. We're looking forward to our next live stream where we get to talk to some of you awesome people.
That's right. We got to go schedule that.
We do have to go schedule that. We have to let you guys know. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in every week and supporting the show. You don't know how much it means to us. It is such an emotional
roller coaster.
Well, no, it's an emotional
boost,
like rock. Like you are our rock.
Oh yeah, they are. A rock.
Because without that, we'd just be it's all frilly nilly, and we wouldn't have any kind of base or know why we were doing this.
Frilly nilly should be our new
segment,
animated
person, like a character.
Yeah, like a what do you when you have someone who's in a character suit.
Yeah.
What's that called?
I don't know. Anyway, thank you again. It's just wonderful. We look forward to seeing you next week with more Patreon bonus stories. It's really nice having the Patreon bonus story section just to ramble on.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of times we're looking at the news and we're like, we have to cut this down. We need to make a 40-minute show, or close to that. And then we're like, but I really want to talk about this because I'm very passionate about it. And I feel like a lot of people won't understand what we're talking about because we're so passionate about, like, the oil spill or something like that. And to just be like, you know what? Let's talk about it in the Patreon bonus story. We can talk about it all we want to our heart's content. We can say whatever we want about the oil companies, and no one's going to be like, hey, the oil companies, they provide all the power for everyone.
Jobs.
Yeah.
Lots of jobs.
Lots of jobs. So save the coal miners. Like, there's none of you, none
you know
of
what
that
it's like?
crap.
Patrons are like, is like you go to the back door of your friend's house and you're like, can I just come in and have a cup of coffee and talk to you about something?
Yeah.
That's what
very
it's like.
much like that. It is very refreshing.
Your door's always open.
I'm glad that we do it during our show because it's a nice breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
I wonder if you guys can even notice when we come back to do the Patreon shoutouts, which we're about to do. Yeah, a little
boost.
spring in our step.
See what you think.
Thank you so much for watching. Now you know.